The sky above planet Vera shimmered with strange colors. Hues of violet and gold twisted through the thin atmosphere, reflecting off jagged crystal formations that rose like towers from the soft silver sands. Captain Ethan Hart stood at the edge of a cliff, his eyes scanning the horizon. The air smelled faintly of minerals and something sweet, like alien flowers that grew nowhere else in the galaxy. Ethan adjusted the strap of his backpack and checked the scanner on his wrist. The device blinked rapidly, signaling an unusual energy reading from the ruins below. These ruins had been discovered by human probes only a month earlier, but no one had dared explore them. The energy pulses were unpredictable, fluctuating in ways that defied human calculations. Yet, curiosity had always been stronger than caution for Ethan. "Ethan! Be careful," came a voice through the comlink. It was Lieutenant Mara, the base officer back at Colony 1. "Those readings are off the charts. If anything goes wrong, don't expect a rescue team to reach you in time." "I know what I'm doing," Ethan replied, though his voice betrayed a hint of excitement. "I've studied the scans. I just need to see the source up close." Mara sighed. "Just come back in one piece, Captain." Ethan smiled and turned his attention to the path leading down into the ruins. The cliffs were steep, and the wind carried fine grains of silver sand that sparkled like tiny stars. He began his careful descent, using a combination of climbing tools and the natural handholds in the crystal walls. The ruins themselves were unlike anything humans had seen before. Structures rose from the sands like frozen waterfalls, their surfaces etched with glowing symbols. Some pulses of light seemed almost alive, crawling across the stone in intricate patterns. Ethan felt a thrill run through him. Humans were explorers by nature, always reaching beyond their limits, always seeking knowledge, and here, on this distant world, humanity's curiosity would meet its test. As he stepped onto the sands at the base of the cliffs, a strange vibration ran through the ground. Ethan froze, scanning the area. A figure emerged from between two tall, angular structures. She moved with grace and precision, her skin reflecting the golden light in a soft shimmer. Her eyes were a deep, luminous green, intelligent and curious. "Hello," she said, her voice smooth and melodic, yet carrying a warmth that felt almost familiar. "I have been expecting you." Ethan's jaw went slightly slack. This was unexpected. Most alien encounters he had studied in theory involved cautious observation, sometimes even fear. But this being stepped forward without hesitation, without threat. She seemed confident yet gentle, as if the world itself moved around her rhythm. Hello," Ethan managed, his mind racing to process what he saw. He had prepared for many things, hostile creatures, unstable structures, even accidents, but nothing had prepared him for a being who seemed almost human in her subtle expressions, yet entirely alien in form. "My name is Lyra," she said, inclining her head slightly. "I study these ruins, and now it seems you have come to study them too." Ethan nodded, feeling a surge of both relief and nervous excitement. "I'm Captain Ethan Hart, human explorer from Colony 1. I didn't expect anyone else to be here." Lyra's lips curved in what seemed like amusement. "Expectations are dangerous things. Sometimes they prevent discovery." She took a step closer, and Ethan noticed the faint hum of energy surrounding her. It was subtle but undeniable, like a current in the air. "You are human. I can sense your curiosity, your courage." Ethan blinked, caught off guard. Humans often underestimated the small but powerful ways they could impress other species. "You can sense that?" "Yes," she said softly. "It is unusual. Most species rely on technology, logic, or force. Humans, you feel, you wonder, you risk without knowing the outcome." She leaned slightly closer, her green eyes meeting his with intensity. "Tell me, Captain, do you need me now? Or later?" Ethan froze. His mind stumbled. The question was simple, but the tone, the closeness, the way she looked at him, it left him speechless. He had faced storms, alien landscapes, and the unknown, but somehow none of that mattered now. He simply lost his words. Lyra tilted her head, observing him. "It is acceptable," she said quietly. "You are human. You do not always speak immediately." Ethan cleared his throat, trying to regain composure. I think now is best." His voice came out shaky, even to him. He knew he had to focus. This wasn't a social visit. These ruins were unstable, unpredictable, and possibly dangerous. Lyra nodded once, sharply, and motioned for him to follow her deeper into the structures. As they walked, Ethan noticed the walls around them pulsing with faint energy lines, shifting colors as if alive. Each step seemed to bring them closer to the heart of the ruins. And yet, the tension in the air was not fear. It was anticipation. "I have studied these ruins for cycles," Lyra explained. "They were built long before humans arrived in this sector. My species believes they hold knowledge, but we have only touched the surface. Perhaps together we can uncover more." Ethan glanced at her, admiration mixing with awe. "I'd like that," he said. Humans were strong not only in body but in spirit. They could adapt, learn, and persevere. And here he was, standing beside someone from a civilization that had existed for millennia, yet she seemed impressed by him. They reached a chamber filled with massive crystalline formations. Light passed through the crystals, scattering into brilliant patterns across the walls. Lyra moved to a pedestal at the center and placed her hands on a smooth surface. Energy flowed into the crystals, illuminating hidden symbols. "These symbols," Lyra said, "speak of energy transformation, of balance between mind, body, and the world. Many have tried to understand them. Few have succeeded. Humans, you may have a way." Ethan stepped closer, studying the inscriptions. He noticed patterns that reminded him of human logic, of problem-solving strategies. Unlike the aliens who relied solely on calculation, humans could see connections in unconventional ways. Perhaps that was why Lyra had sought him out. "Maybe," he said slowly, "it's not just about understanding these ruins. Maybe it's about feeling them, sensing the way energy moves, not just reading it." Lyra's eyes widened slightly, a subtle smile forming. "Yes, you are correct. Feeling, sensing, that is rare. It may be why you were drawn here." A sudden vibration shook the ground, causing small crystals to tumble from above. Ethan quickly reached out, steadying one that threatened to fall. Lyra observed silently, impressed by his quick reflexes. "You are cautious, yet willing," she remarked. "That balance, it is human. It is rare in those who come to explore, even in my species." Ethan nodded. He felt a warmth spread through him, not fear, not danger, but a sense of connection. Here, on this strange planet, humans were not just explorers. They were remarkable beings capable of bridging worlds. Lyra moved closer again, her presence calm and grounding. "The path ahead will not be easy," she said. "The ruins are alive in a way. They respond to those who enter. We must act together." Ethan felt a surge of determination. Humans thrived in uncertainty, relied on intuition, and never gave up. He realized that this mission, this moment, was not just about exploration. It was about demonstrating the unique strengths of humanity. He took a deep breath, steadying himself. "Then let's go, together." For the first time, Lyra allowed a full smile to form, bright and genuine. Yes, together. The two moved deeper into the ruins, side by side, their footsteps echoing in the vast chamber. The energy of the crystals pulsed rhythmically, almost like a heartbeat. Ethan felt the rhythm resonate with his own, a subtle reminder that life, in any form, shared common threads. As they ventured further, Lyra leaned slightly closer, her voice soft but clear. "Do not be afraid to rely on me, Captain. You have courage, yes, but courage paired with guidance can move mountains." Ethan swallowed hard. He wanted to speak, to respond with something clever or profound, but once again, the words failed him, and that was fine. In that moment, human strength was not only in speech or action, it was in presence, in trust, in the quiet understanding that sometimes the universe revealed itself in shared experiences rather than in words. The ruins stretched endlessly ahead, a labyrinth of crystal towers, glowing symbols, and hidden chambers. Unknown challenges awaited them, tests of intellect, instinct, and spirit. And yet, with Lyra beside him, Ethan felt an unfamiliar but comforting certainty. Humanity's heart, courage, and adaptability were never alone. They could inspire, protect, and guide, even in the farthest reaches of the galaxy. And so, the human and the alien moved forward, together. In the silence of the shimmering ruins, amidst the pulse of unknown energy, a partnership was formed, one that would not only uncover ancient knowledge, but would reveal the quiet, undeniable power of the human spirit. The ruins stretched endlessly, a labyrinth of crystal towers and glowing symbols, and Ethan Hart followed closely behind Lyra. Each step seemed to bring them deeper into a world both beautiful and strange. Light bent and shimmered through the crystals, painting shifting patterns on the sand below. The air felt alive, humming softly, almost as if the ruins themselves were breathing. "This place," Ethan whispered, "it's like nothing I've ever seen. The energy, it's not dangerous. Not yet, but it's powerful." Lyra glanced back at him, her luminous eyes reflecting the glow of the crystals. "Yes, the energy here responds to those who enter. It is not passive. It tests you, learns from you, adapts to you. That is why many have failed to explore it fully." Ethan adjusted his scanner, which beeped softly as it tried to make sense of the energy fluctuations. Human instruments could measure many things, but the ruins seemed to operate on principles beyond immediate understanding. That only made the challenge more thrilling. Humans had always been known for their adaptability, their ability to innovate when faced with the unknown. And now, in this alien structure, those qualities would be tested. They reached a chamber larger than any Ethan had anticipated. Towering crystals stretched toward the ceiling, refracting light into millions of tiny rainbows. At the center stood a pedestal, carved from a single piece of stone, glowing faintly. Strange markings ran across its surface, changing subtly as the energy in the room shifted. Lyra stepped forward, her hands hovering above the pedestal. "These ruins are a record," she explained. "They store knowledge of energy, life, and the balance between them. My people can access some of it, but the full meaning requires a different approach. That approach may be human." Ethan tilted his head, intrigued. "Human? You mean like intuition, problem-solving in unexpected ways?" "Yes," Lyra said softly. "Your species relies on creativity, curiosity, and feeling, not just logic. Here, that is essential. You can sense patterns where others only see symbols." Ethan knelt to examine the markings. The lines seemed to shift and flow as he traced them with his fingers. He noticed subtle repetitions and variations, small inconsistencies that suggested movement and rhythm. Humans often solved puzzles by looking at the unexpected, by connecting ideas others overlooked. And that was exactly what these ruins seemed to require. Lyra watched him, fascinated. "I will guide you, but you must act. The ruins will respond to your choices, your actions, not just your observations." Ethan smiled, feeling a rush of excitement. Then let's begin. They worked together for hours. Lyra shared her knowledge of the energy flows, explaining how the crystals could store and release power. Ethan applied human ingenuity, experimenting with patterns, adjusting angles, and improvising with tools he carried. Slowly, the symbols began to resonate, a soft hum vibrating through the chamber. Light danced along the crystal walls in synchrony with their movements. "This is incredible," Ethan whispered. "It's like the ruins are alive, responding to us." "They are alive," Lyra agreed. "In a way, everything here has a consciousness. It is subtle, not like yours or mine, but it can perceive intent, understanding, and cooperation." Ethan's hands paused over a cluster of symbols. "So it's not just about doing things perfectly, it's about understanding, feeling, responding in harmony with it." Lyra nodded. "Exactly. Many fail because they approach with tools only, without thought or heart. Humans, you may succeed because your species values more than calculation." Hours passed, and the partnership between human and alien strengthened. Ethan began to notice small gestures from Lyra, how she adjusted her movements when he stepped too close, how she mirrored his approach when experimenting with energy flow. It was subtle, but it conveyed trust and mutual respect. At one point, a faint tremor ran through the chamber. Crystals rattled slightly, and a soft vibration spread across the floor. Ethan instinctively stepped forward to stabilize a large formation that threatened to tip. Lyra reached for his arm, steadying it with her own hand. "You are careful, but brave," she observed. "That balance is rare. Many would hesitate entirely. Some would charge recklessly. Humans, you adapt." Ethan glanced at her, feeling warmth and admiration. "I guess that's what being human is about. Curiosity, courage, and sometimes relying on each other." Lyra smiled softly, a gesture that seemed to glow in the ambient light. "Yes, and that is why I asked you to come. Your species has qualities my people admire but cannot fully replicate." They continued deeper into the ruins, discovering chambers filled with alien machinery, some dormant, some humming softly with energy. Ethan found ways to activate certain mechanisms, applying human logic in ways Lyra had not anticipated. Some doors opened with intricate gestures, some panels responded only to combinations of sound, touch, and light patterns. "This is amazing," Ethan said, stepping back to admire the chamber. "I never thought a human could interact with technology like this without prior knowledge." "That is exactly why your species is special," Lyra replied. "You do not rely solely on prior knowledge. You adapt, improvise, and create. That is why I knew you could succeed." As the sun began to dip below the horizon outside the ruins, casting long shadows through the crystal walls, they paused in a central chamber. A soft glow emanated from a large crystal at its center, pulsing in a rhythm that seemed almost musical. Lyra stepped closer and placed her hands on the crystal. Energy flowed into her, and for a moment, the room filled with vibrant colors and harmonious vibrations. She closed her eyes, letting the energy resonate through her. Ethan watched, fascinated. Humans had always been known for their resilience and creativity, but he realized now that those traits could also extend to empathy and connection. He stepped forward, placing his hands lightly on the crystal beside hers. The energy responded to him differently than it did to Lyra alone. It adjusted, shifted, and flowed, creating new patterns that neither had anticipated. "It works," Lyra said, her eyes opening, shining with admiration. "Together, human and alien, we can unlock what alone we cannot. Your touch, your intuition. It adds something unique." Ethan felt a surge of pride, not for himself alone, but for humanity. Across galaxies, humans were often underestimated. Many thought their species fragile, inexperienced, or naive. And yet here, on an alien world, a human was making a difference, complementing a species older and wiser in knowledge. As they worked side by side, exploring new chambers, Ethan began to notice the subtle way Lyra observed him. It was not just professional interest. It was curiosity, admiration, and something else harder to define. Humans had a way of connecting through presence and shared purpose, and apparently, it transcended species. At one point, Ethan paused to catch his breath. "Lyra, why did you ask me that first question? An hour later, I couldn't think of a word to respond." Lyra's green eyes twinkled, reflecting the colors of the crystals. "I wanted to see your reaction. Not to test you, but to understand you. Humans, you show strength not just in action, but in hesitation, in reflection, in feeling. That moment revealed a truth about you, about your species." Ethan smiled, a little embarrassed but also proud. "I suppose humans are complicated." "You are," Lyra said softly, "and yet that complexity is a strength. That is why I value your presence here. Together we can achieve what my people alone cannot." Their journey continued, taking them through corridors filled with shifting light, intricate puzzles, and chambers of breathtaking beauty. Each challenge tested them in different ways, sometimes requiring quick thinking, sometimes patience, sometimes the subtle understanding of energy flow that only humans seemed able to perceive intuitively. By the time they reached a massive chamber at the heart of the ruins, dusk had settled outside, and the crystals cast a soft glow, illuminating their path. In the center stood a pedestal larger than any they had seen before, covered in symbols that seemed to shimmer with life. "This is it," Lyra said, her voice filled with quiet reverence. "The heart of the ruins. Many have come, hoping to unlock its secrets. Few have reached this point." She looked at Ethan. "And yet together, we stand before it. Human and alien." Ethan took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the moment. Humans had always been explorers, reaching for the unknown, driven by curiosity and courage. And here, that spirit had brought him to this moment, side by side with a being of extraordinary intelligence and grace. He stepped forward, placing his hands on the pedestal. Energy pulsed through him, and he felt it respond to his intent, his focus, and his heart. Lyra did the same, and together they unlocked a sequence of energy flows, opening pathways deeper into the ruins that had been hidden for millennia. The chamber brightened, illuminating symbols and carvings that had remained dormant for ages. Lyra glanced at Ethan, her expression a mixture of awe and admiration. This is extraordinary. Your species, you are capable of things even I could not anticipate." Ethan smiled, humbled but proud. "It's what humans do. We explore. We adapt, we learn, and we trust each other when it matters." For a moment they stood in silence, letting the energy of the ruins flow around them. The partnership they had formed was more than convenience. It was a bridge between species, a combination of human courage and alien wisdom. Together they had unlocked possibilities neither could have achieved alone. Lyra stepped closer, her presence comforting and steady. "Captain Hart, human, explorer, you have shown me a truth about your species. Strength is not just in power or knowledge, it is in curiosity, courage, and the willingness to connect, to trust, to feel." Ethan looked at her, words catching in his throat. He had faced countless dangers, seen strange worlds, and overcome impossible odds. And yet, standing here, in a chamber pulsing with ancient energy, beside this remarkable being, he realized that human strength was more than action. It was heart. The ruins whispered around them, alive with energy, acknowledging their success. And as they prepared to move deeper, Ethan felt something he had not expected. A quiet certainty that humanity, in all its complexity, had a place even in the farthest reaches of the galaxy. And Lyra, with her grace, wisdom, and curiosity, was now a witness and a partner to what humans could achieve when courage and heart met the unknown. Together, human and alien ventured forward, ready to face whatever mysteries awaited them in the heart of the ruins. The ruins of Vera had grown more intricate as Ethan Hart and Lyra ventured deeper. Crystals now towered like spires, some so massive their tops vanished into shadows above. The air pulsed with a soft, rhythmic energy, vibrating through the floor and walls alike. Each step they took seemed measured by the ruins themselves, as if the structure were alive, watching and responding to them. Ethan glanced at Lyra. She moved with her usual grace, but even she seemed alert, her luminous green eyes scanning the shifting patterns of light and energy. "The energy here is unlike anything we've seen before," Ethan said quietly. "It's reactive, almost like it knows we are here." Lyra nodded. "Correct. The deeper we go, the more aware the ruins become. It tests us, evaluates us. It will not allow careless action." Ethan's heart raced with anticipation and excitement. Humans thrived in uncertainty, in problem-solving where rules were unclear, but even he felt a slight edge of tension. Something told him that the challenges ahead would demand not just skill, but courage, trust, and creativity. They reached a wide chamber, the largest they had encountered yet. The walls were lined with towering crystals, each shimmering with vibrant colors that shifted with an almost musical rhythm. In the center stood a pedestal, surrounded by intricate conduits of energy that pulsed in waves. "This is the core chamber," Lyra said, her voice soft but commanding. "Many have come here, hoping to harness the ruins' energy. Few have survived the test, and even fewer have succeeded in unlocking its secrets." Ethan stepped forward cautiously. "A test? What kind of test?" Lyra's eyes met his. "The ruins do not attack in the conventional sense. It challenges the mind, the spirit, and the cooperation between those who enter. It will respond to fear, hesitation, and recklessness. It will reward courage, wisdom, and teamwork." Ethan nodded. Humans had faced uncertainty countless times, in exploration, in survival, and in building their civilizations across distant worlds. Their strength had always been their ability to adapt, to innovate, and to persevere. He felt a surge of confidence. "Then we face it together," he said. Lyra smiled. "Together." As they approached the pedestal, the energy conduits flared, and the floor vibrated beneath their feet. Symbols on the walls began to shift, forming patterns that moved and changed as though alive. Ethan stepped carefully, observing the flow of energy. The pattern suggested a puzzle, but one that could not be solved by logic alone. It required intuition, timing, and a sense of harmony with the surrounding energy. "This is incredible," Ethan whispered. "The symbols. They respond to intent, not touch. They are alive, in a sense." "Yes," Lyra agreed. "Many have tried to manipulate the ruins with technology or force. They failed. The ruins cannot be coerced. They must be understood, respected." Ethan knelt, tracing the shifting lines with his fingers. He realized that the flow of energy responded to subtle changes in position, breath, and focus. Humans had a way of noticing patterns others missed, of connecting ideas in unconventional ways. That skill, honed through centuries of exploration and innovation, was exactly what the ruins demanded. Lyra joined him, her hands hovering over the energy conduits. "Your intuition guides the energy differently than mine. Watch and learn, but also act. The ruins respond to cooperation, not observation alone." Ethan nodded and began experimenting. he adjusted the sequence of his movements, matching the rhythm of the energy pulses, aligning himself with the flow rather than against it. Lyra mirrored him, her touch subtle but precise. Together, human and alien created a harmony that neither could achieve alone. For a moment, everything seemed to align perfectly. Light flared through the crystals, the floor hummed, and symbols glowed brightly. Ethan felt a rush of exhilaration. Humans had always thrived on challenge, using courage and creativity to overcome the unknown. This was no different. But then a sudden surge of energy pulsed through the chamber, stronger than anything they had experienced. The crystals vibrated violently, and a wave of light swept across the room. Ethan stumbled, narrowly avoiding a falling shard. Lyra caught his arm, steadying him. "The ruins are testing us," she shouted over the rising hum. "We must act together, or the energy will overwhelm us." Ethan's mind raced. Human ingenuity often shone brightest under pressure. He scanned the chamber, noting the flow of energy, the movement of symbols, and the shifting patterns of light. The ruins were not attacking. They were responding, reacting to uncertainty and fear. He took a deep breath, steadying himself. "Lyra," he called. "Focus on the conduits on the left. I'll handle the right. We synchronize our movements with the pulses. Step in time with me." Lyra nodded. "Agreed." They moved in perfect coordination, adjusting their steps and gestures to match the rhythm of the energy. The symbols responded, stabilizing slightly. But the surge was relentless. Ethan realized that the ruins were not just a puzzle, they were a dynamic test of perception, intuition, and trust. "Keep going," he shouted. "Don't hesitate." The energy pulsed again, and a shard of crystal fell toward him. Instinctively, he rolled aside, then reached for a nearby conduit, redirecting its flow. The energy shifted, creating a path for Lyra to follow safely. "Good," she called. "You adapt quickly, human. That is why this chamber responds so well to you." Ethan smiled, despite the tension. Humans had always thrived when improvisation was needed, when the unexpected occurred. The ruins were no different. They required courage, quick thinking, and the willingness to trust one's instincts. Minutes stretched into what felt like hours. They navigated the chamber with precision, responding to surges, aligning with pulses, and adjusting to the dynamic energy patterns. Each success built their confidence, and each challenge deepened their understanding of the ruins and of each other. Finally, they reached the central pedestal. The energy here was intense, radiant, and almost sentient. Ethan placed his hands on the surface, feeling the pulse, the rhythm, the living essence of the ruins. Lyra did the same. "This is it," she said softly. "The heart of the ruins. We must act in harmony, human and alien, or the energy will overwhelm us." Ethan focused, drawing on every lesson from his past experiences, human ingenuity, adaptability, and courage. He synchronized his breath, movements, and intent with the energy, letting it flow through him rather than resisting. Lyra matched him perfectly, their combined focus creating a resonance that the ruins responded to immediately. The crystals flared, light scattering across the chamber in a dazzling display. Symbols shifted and aligned, forming patterns that had remained hidden for millennia. The energy stabilized, humming softly in acknowledgement of their success. Ethan took a step back, breathing heavily but smiling. "We did it," he said. "The ruins, they accepted us." Lyra's eyes shone with admiration. "Yes, together, human and alien. Your species, your courage and adaptability are remarkable. I have never seen anything like it." Ethan felt a swell of pride, not for himself alone, but for humanity. Across galaxies, humans were often underestimated, seen as fragile or inexperienced. Yet here, in the heart of alien ruins, human ingenuity and courage had made the difference. They paused, letting the energy pulse around them. The chamber seemed to recognize their achievement, responding with light, sound, and vibration that felt almost celebratory. "You were extraordinary," Lyra said softly, her voice tinged with warmth. "Not just in action, but in presence. Humans, you have a way of connecting with the world around you. It is inspiring." Ethan smiled, humbled. "I think it's what humans do best. We explore, we adapt, and we connect. And we trust each other when it matters most." Lyra tilted her head slightly, a gesture that conveyed admiration. "And that is why you succeeded. Many would have faltered, unable to respond with balance and courage, but you rose to the challenge." As the energy of the ruins settled, Ethan felt a deep sense of connection to the world, to Lyra, and to the potential of humanity. Humans had always reached for the unknown, driven by curiosity, courage, and a desire to understand. And here, on a distant planet, those qualities had unlocked something extraordinary. The ruins pulsed softly, as if acknowledging their triumph. Ethan and Lyra exchanged a glance, silent but full of understanding. They had faced the test, overcome the crisis, and emerged stronger, not just as individuals, but as a team. "Shall we continue?" Ethan asked, his voice steady and confident. Lyra nodded, her smile radiant. "Yes, the heart of the ruins has opened pathways previously hidden. Together we can explore further, uncover more knowledge, and perhaps reveal truths about the universe that neither species could achieve alone." Ethan felt a thrill of excitement. Humans thrived on exploration, on challenges that demanded courage and creativity. And here, side by side with Lyra, he realized that the greatest strength of humanity was not just intelligence or skill, it was heart, perseverance, and the ability to trust and connect with others, even across the stars. They moved deeper into the ruins, their steps sure and confident. Light danced across the crystal walls, illuminating new pathways and hidden chambers. Ethan knew that greater challenges awaited, but he also knew that with human ingenuity and courage, combined with Lyra's wisdom and experience, they could face whatever the universe had in store. And so, human and alien advanced together, ready to uncover the secrets of the ruins and, in the process, reveal the quiet but undeniable power of humanity. The deeper chambers of the ruins unfolded before Ethan, Hart, and Lyra like a vast living library. Crystals glowed softly, illuminating intricate patterns carved into walls older than any human record. Energy pulsed through the floors and conduits, responsive to movement, thought, and intent. Every step felt like walking through a living organism, each crystal a cell in a massive conscious body. Ethan adjusted his scanner and shook his head in amazement. "I've seen a lot of incredible things, Lyra, but this is something else entirely. It's like the ruins are alive, aware, and learning." Lyra smiled, the glow of the crystals reflecting in her green eyes. "They are. The ruins were designed to store knowledge, yes, but not just facts. They respond to understanding, creativity, and heart. Few species can interact with them fully. Humans, your kind has a rare ability. You feel, you adapt, and you think beyond what is merely logical. That is why you have come this far." Ethan felt pride swell in his chest, but he remained humble. Humans were explorers at heart, driven by curiosity and courage, but never alone. "We didn't do it alone," he said. "It's been both of us, together." Lyra nodded. "Indeed. That is why this moment is significant. You have proven that cooperation between species, human and alien, can achieve what neither could alone. That is the true value of your presence here." They reached the heart chamber, a vast space dominated by a towering crystal formation that seemed to reach for the ceiling impossibly high above. Light refracted through the crystal, scattering into colors Ethan had never seen before. The energy here was more intense than anything they had encountered, but it was stable, harmonious, as if the ruins recognized their success and trust. "This is the source," Lyra whispered. "The culmination of all the energy and knowledge stored within these ruins. It can teach us, guide us, and even reveal truths about the universe itself. But only those who have proven themselves, through courage, intuition, and heart, can access it fully." Ethan stepped closer, feeling the gentle vibration through the floor, almost like a heartbeat. He placed his hands lightly on the crystal and immediately felt energy responding to him. It flowed through his body, not painfully, but in a way that made him aware of every thought, every intent, every heartbeat. Lyra mirrored him, and together, their combined presence resonated with the crystal. Patterns of light shifted and changed, forming shapes, symbols, and sequences that neither could fully interpret immediately. But their cooperation allowed the crystal to open pathways of knowledge, revealing aspects of energy manipulation, planetary ecosystems, and interstellar phenomena that had been hidden for millennia. This is beyond anything I imagined," Ethan breathed. "It's like the universe itself is speaking through the ruins." "Yes," Lyra said softly. "And you can hear it because of your species. Humans are unique in your ability to perceive patterns, to sense connections, to act with courage and empathy. That is why the ruins responded to you." Ethan's mind raced. Humans were often underestimated by other species for their size, their relative youth in galactic terms, or their simple technology. But their spirit, their curiosity, adaptability, and emotional intelligence was unparalleled. Here, in the ruins of Vera, that human spirit had proven itself once again. They explored the heart chamber carefully, following the guidance of the crystal energy. It led them to smaller chambers within the heart, each filled with more refined knowledge. Maps of ancient star systems, simulations of energy flows, and devices that demonstrated advanced science far beyond human or alien current understanding. "This is incredible," Ethan said, carefully examining a device that emitted soft pulses of energy. "We could use this to improve life on many planets. Energy systems, environmental restoration, even travel." Lyra placed her hand on his shoulder. "Indeed. And that is why humans are so important. You are capable of seeing practical applications for knowledge, not just theory. That is rare. That is power." As they moved together through the chambers, Ethan began to reflect on the journey that had brought him here. From the first moment Lyra had asked him whether he needed her, now or later, he had been aware of something remarkable: humanity's qualities, courage, ingenuity, curiosity, and trust were being recognized not only by another species, but by the universe itself, through the responsive intelligence of the ruins. "You know," Ethan said, glancing at Lyra, "I didn't expect to come here and be celebrated in a way. I thought this was just another exploration mission." Lyra's eyes softened. "Celebration is not always loud or obvious. Sometimes, recognition comes in subtle ways, through trust, through cooperation, through achievement. You have earned it, human, not because of your technology or strength, but because of who you are." Ethan smiled, feeling warmth and humility. Humans had always celebrated achievement, but the recognition of another species, one so ancient and wise, was different. It was affirmation that humanity's heart, courage, and ingenuity mattered, even among the stars. The chamber led them to a final platform, where a massive, perfectly smooth crystal surface reflected both their forms. Ethan could see Lyra's reflection beside his own, and he noticed the subtle admiration in her eyes. It was more than professional. It was respect, trust, and perhaps even something deeper. "This," Lyra said softly, "is the culmination. Place your hands here, and together we will unlock the final sequence." Ethan placed his hands lightly on the crystal, Energy flowed through him, familiar yet overwhelming in its intensity. He focused, using every ounce of human ingenuity and intuition. Lyra did the same, her movements precise and elegant. The energy pulsed, then synchronized, forming a perfect resonance that opened a portal of light, revealing a vision of countless worlds, civilizations, and possibilities. "You see?" Lyra said, her voice full of awe. "The knowledge of the ruins is vast, but it is guided by understanding, heart, and courage. Humans can bridge worlds, Captain. Your species can do more than survive. You can inspire, innovate, and lead." Ethan felt a thrill unlike anything before. Humans had always reached for the stars, driven by curiosity and courage. And now, in the heart of Vera, he understood the true scope of that potential. They stepped back, letting the energy settle. The chamber glowed softly, as if acknowledging their success. Ethan turned to Lyra. All of this, it's incredible. And to think, it all started with a simple choice, with trust and with courage." Lyra smiled, stepping closer. "Yes, and you proved that even in the face of uncertainty, humans can adapt, create, and lead. That is your strength. That is why your species matters." Ethan felt a quiet certainty settle over him. Across galaxies, humans were often underestimated, but their courage, adaptability, and empathy had brought him here. Humanity had a place in the stars, not just as explorers, but as innovators, thinkers, and partners in the great unfolding of knowledge. For a moment, silence fell. The ruins hummed gently, the crystals pulsing softly with life. Ethan and Lyra stood side by side, sharing the quiet satisfaction of accomplishment. Then, with her usual playful grace, Lyra leaned slightly closer, her green eyes twinkling. "Captain Hart, do you need me now or later?" Ethan paused. This time he did not hesitate. He smiled, confident and steady. "Now," he said, his voice firm. Lyra's laugh, soft and melodic, echoed through the chamber. It was not just joy, it was admiration, trust, and a recognition of what humans could achieve. As they moved to explore the final pathways of the ruins, Ethan realized that the journey had revealed more than knowledge. It had revealed humanity itself. Curiosity, courage, adaptability, empathy, and trust were not just traits. They were powers that could inspire, bridge worlds, and shape the universe. Lyra walked beside him, their reflections mirrored in the crystal surfaces around them. Humans had been tested, their qualities recognized and celebrated. And now, alongside an alien of remarkable intellect and grace, Ethan Hart knew one undeniable truth. Humanity mattered. The ruins of Vera, alive with energy and ancient wisdom, seemed to acknowledge their achievement. Symbols glowed in patterns that spoke of unity, understanding, and harmony. Humans, it seemed, were not only survivors, they were creators, explorers, and connectors. Ethan paused, taking a deep breath. He thought of Earth, of the colonies, of all the humans who had dreamed of reaching the stars. And he knew that wherever humanity went, its heart, courage, and ingenuity would leave a mark, just as they had here, in the ruins of Vera. As they walked forward, the crystal light shimmering around them, Ethan glanced at Lyra. "I think this is only the beginning." "Yes," she said, her smile radiant. "Together, human and alien, there is no limit to what we can achieve." And with that, they stepped into the next chamber, ready to uncover even greater secrets, knowing that humanity's spirit, its curiosity, courage, and compassion would continue to shine across the stars. The ruins had tested them. They had passed. And in doing so, they had revealed the quiet but undeniable power of humanity, echoing across the universe, whispering a single truth. Humans could rise to any challenge, inspire any species, and illuminate the unknown with courage, heart, and ingenuity. The stars outside the ruins twinkled as if in agreement. Humanity, small yet resilient. Curious yet courageous, had a place among them, and its journey had only just begun.